Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to part two. This time it's Luke's turn to yap. We're going to listen to his testimony, and we can just
Oh,
go
it's
ahead and get right into that right
my
now.
turn to yap. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I got 50 minutes of that.
Oh yeah, nice. It's my turn to get 50 minutes. Huh? You're going to bed late now. No, I'm kidding. Nah, but I'm
Who
messing with
says I can't sleep?
who says I can't sleep? Anyway, so I want to thank y'all for joining. My name's Luke. I am 20 years old, born in 2005, June 27th. I was born in Portsmouth, raised in Norfolk, Virginia for about first 7 years of my life. Again, I am nothing entirely compared to Jake to where I'm like, partying, women, stuff like that, drugs. I've never done any type of stuff like that. It's never really interested me. But then again, I grew up in a household that was not so much divided. I grew up in a household with loving parents and siblings and whatnot and stuff like that. So when I was turning 7 years old, my parents got sent out to Fort Myers, Florida to start their first church. And it was a struggle to say the least because I had a lot of friends in Norfolk, and leaving and actually being alone, so going into church on Sunday morning in Norfolk was knowing that you had friends, but going into church on Sunday morning in Fort Myers, there's nobody. So it's like, my best friend became my brother. So me and my brother would do everything together. Legit everything. We'll play any type of video game together. We'll play together, football, whatever. For like the whole 10 years we were down there, we would do whatever together. Oh, it was great, honestly, because now, I think even now, my brother, for that reason, me and my brother have had a fantastic relationship. And so, but I think what hurt me a lot is that I made my situation feel like a divided home, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that is like, I didn't use my parents as some other kids would. I would feel like I'm by myself. Like basically like you, I just feel like it's me against the world type thing, you know what I mean? So when we first moved down, again, first 5 years being there, it's whatever. I'm going from 7 years old to 12 years old. It's like I'm just living life. But at a very young age, I think it was at the age of 12, like 11 or 12, I first stumbled on to pornography. That was the first time.
hmm
First stumbled onto it. And whenever you are hungry for something like that or to feed that addiction and stuff like that, my parents did a very, very good job with blocking our tablets, or even because these are kids' tablets and stuff like that. Like these things are shut down. But with trying to feed that addiction, you do whatever. And this is any addiction. This is not just pornography. This is everything, drugs, alcohol, whatever. You do anything to try to feed that addiction. And so
hmm
I became very good at lying and finding out passwords and etc. to try to get around this blockage to go and actually watch it. So that was at a very young age. I was always so bitter and depressed and upset and not really wanting to talk to my dad or mom because I thought they wouldn't understand and just kind of just standoffish, whatever. And so just really going through the life as a pastor's kid, because everybody knows if you are a PK growing up in this fellowship, the Christian Fellowship Ministry Fellowship, PKs are the worst. So sorry, PKs, if I just shot y'all out there. It's true. I'm sorry. We are just the worst kids over the PKs. Anyway, but it was
Or the PKs.
yeah, the PKs are rebels. We are menaces. We think we own the whole fellowship. We don't. Um, but anyway, but it was rough because these again, I'm isolated. I feel lonely. I feel like I can't talk to anybody. I feel like it's me against the world. So just really going through really throughout the whole time in Florida, I was just going through the motions. Just living life, doing school, homeschool, working with my mom occasionally here and there for a company, going to work with my dad, doing stuff with my dad every so often. It was really just going through the motions. Nothing too crazy, going to church. But that was when I would always put on a different mask. Like in church, I would act like the responsible church kid, behave, whatever. And then when I was at home, act like freaking crap, like
Yep.
nobody's business, you know. So just going through those motions, it was that was about it. Just still addicted to pornography. I was before moving back. Even when I did move back, it was still a little bit of a struggle. But still, like moving back, I was probably addicted for a whole decade. And it was like about 10 years, 10 to 12 years. It was rough. It was really rough for me. Because that was like the only thing I never again. Because for me, even something that my mentors told me is that like my mentor ain't gonna. I mean, not my mentor. The devil ain't going to tempt you with something that he knows not gonna work. Like he knows I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't like that stuff. That stuff is disgusting to me. He's not gonna think, okay, let me just tempt you with this. It's not, bro. Try something else. It's
Yeah.
not gonna work. But he knows my weaknesses. He knows women, the attachments, the validation, stuff like that. So when I turned, how old was I? 15, 16 years old? I think when I turned 16 years old, I technically got into my first, like, I guess you could say relationship, I guess you could say. But it wasn't really a relationship. It was just like a me being stupid type thing. It was my fault, really.
Yeah.
But, it was just me being blinded and
First
wanting
girl to
that,
give you that attention.
right, to seek that attention and validation. And she gave that to me. So we talked for a long time. Again, my parents didn't know. They just always thought we were, because this is at this time, me and my brother had our own separate PlayStations. So again, they don't know this. My brother knows it, but he's not saying anything. So, um, but just going through the motions and stuff like that, still wrapped on pornography and wanting that validation and seeking, still in isolation and whatnot, and still going through the motions of school and whatnot. Nothing too crazy or significant in my life to change.
Mhm.
And so I'm going through this kind of, I guess you could say, weird friendship relationship type thing. And later on, her friends and her decided to play a prank on all of us because it was me, my brother, my cousin that all knew this one girl. But I was more closer to her than the rest of them. And they decided to play a prank on us. Lost my cool, whatever. Just a whole lot of crap happened in between that. Felt like I lost like a part of me, which I did. Because the prank was basically like they did a prank that she died in a car accident. I felt like I lost a part of me. Like it was a whole situation. But again, it's like I'm wrapping myself in this thing, in this person that I don't really know. And that's where I lost myself, you know? And so, and just trying to find that validation really. And on the top of that, still just going through that validation, having a crush on this girl that I've known for absolutely forever, like throughout my whole time in Florida. It was just trying to find that validation, that acceptance, that okay, that love that I've never felt before. Even from
Mhm.
my parents, yeah, I love from my mom or my dad. All right, cool. But it was just not the same. So, just trying to get also another thing is just trying to get that
Stop trying
praise.
to
If I did
cuddle me. I want
yeah,
her to cuddle
right.
me.
No, stop. But it was just like also trying to get that. Like if I did something good or try to do something good, trying to get that praise and that pride and the ego was always up because and then that later on transpired and hurt me towards the end. But I fixed it, but get on that later. But then I got into uh later on before we were called to come back to Norfolk. I was I joined a bowling league, and it was not an odd passion, I guess you could say, but just a habit I picked up, and I met a lot of friends, a lot of cool guy friends, and my parents finally told us that we were being sent back, and I was so mad because I'm like, bro, really, God? Like, out of the 10 years we've been here, there's no friends, no nothing, and stuff like that. And then finally, now I make friends, and my pornography addiction has gone down. It's like nothing's really happening anymore with it because I've already had these friends, and they like me and stuff like that. Like, I had this one good friend that lived like 2 streets down from me, and we always go bowling or hang out. I'd go to his house, go to his hot tub, stuff like that. Like, we always be doing something. And now we're moving back. Like, you got to be kidding me right now. You know what I mean? So I was so mad at God, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. I was so mad at my parents, and I'm like, you guys now decide to move back. And, oh, it was irritating. And so, um, a couple months before we moved back, unfortunately, my grandfather passed away, and it felt like it hurt me a lot more than even my family, even close family thought it did. Because again, it just felt like things were just being taken away from me. My friends were being taken away from me. My grandfather passed away. My bowling career is being taken away from me. Just a whole lot of things. My city that I in a sense, grew up in. I guess you could say, because like I mean, I was 7 in Norfolk, moving to Florida, and growing in that from 7 to 17. Basically, grew up there and established my roots there. It's just everything's being taken away and yanked up. So I'm like, man, bro. So it's just frustrating, frustrating, frustrating. And that's how later on I kind of fell back into the pornography and then even a deeper depression and irritation and always so upset and just rebellious towards my mom and mainly my mom because, just a lot of the anger was really towards my parents. My sister hated me. My brother, nah, me and my brother were chill. We weren't, we would play games every so often. Me and my brother were good, but, just it was crazy. And then my sister moved to Ohio, and I was mad at her for a little bit, and I'm just because I'm like, bro, like, why would you just move away after all the stuff that we've done together? And it was just a whole lot of stuff that just happened at once that I felt like it was an attack towards me. So later on, we move, and instantly, just instant, like, not love yet, because it was just like I know people, but I don't know people. Like, I know who you are because, of course, like, and we gone to have harvesters and stuff like that, but we don't hang out like that. So, so by the grace of God, and not noticing it really up until not now, but a while back. By the grace of God, Aiden Pizarro became a great friend for me, an outstanding friend. We would go out, just chill, go to Dirty Buffalo usually every Sunday, watch sports and stuff like that. Very cool guy to chill with, go bowling because we had that same hobby. We would go bowling every so often. Very great person. He doesn't understand how much of an impact he made because because I didn't really know anybody, and he basically like we didn't really have that close of a friendship before, but when I moved back over here, he really just kind of like, okay, I'm hanging out. He couldn't definitely not have done that, but he still, hey, you want to go? Like there were times where I asked him, hey, you want to go to Dirty Buffalo? And I feel like I would be a hindrance, but there would be times, hey, you want to go to Dirty Buffalo? And he would ask, I'd be like, oh, snap, okay, this brother wants to actually hang out sometimes or go bowling or something like that. So cool. And then later on, he got sent out and stuff like that, but, me and Philip Hankins got really close and stuff like that, and it was just a lot of people, and then, by the grace of God, he brought back the Steele brothers, and that really boosted my faith because what he did in their lives, what happened, what transpired in their lives, but also to strengthen my faith and stuff like that, and then you came along, and there's just a lot. I really thank God because I'm not saying that it was me and Levi and Jade coming back and just overall us coming back that made this happen, but I think it was ever since that we came back, there was just from that point on, there was just an absolute burst in young men and adults. Cause like ever since we came back, Skylar came to the church, Yus came to the church. Philip was stepping up in ministry. Yuli was stepping up in ministry. Um, uh, uh, the Still brother, all three of the Still brothers came back. It was just a lot of encouragement all around me. And it was just absolutely amazing. And that was God showing, bro, this is my love that I'm trying to show you that you're not alone in what you're facing and stuff like that. And then, like, about a year in, I think it was about a year. Yeah, it was about a year in. Um, my mentor Champ, the first time about no, it was about a couple months in, he asked me if I was gonna play drums because I played drums for my church in Florida. I'm like, nah, man, I'm not gonna do all that. Uh, and I kind of gave up on it, whatever. He's like, all right, whatever. So, but later on, I got into it, and I'm now one of their drummers. Even today, I thank God for it because I love drumming. It's one of my favorite things to do. I take a lot of pride in it, and give glory all to God for allowing me to carry on that talent. And so we had, and this is one of the nights I won't forget because what transpired after this is me and Champ, we were getting stuff ready for Home Alone, the Home Alone play that we were doing, and he was painting something, and that was our very first real legit like conversation because um this is when I kind of started going up in like leaders, I guess you could say like this ladder in the start of leadership into the 180 productions because I was like
Yeah.
leading like the sounds stuff and whatnot. And me and one of my guys kind of had like an argument, and I went to go ask him a question, and then this is when like our first conversation just went crazy. And ever since after that, just conversation after conversation, conversation. And it wasn't even like, because a lot of the times I would just ask him about like suggest or like stuff. What should I do to make myself better in my ministry, whatever. But later on, it turned into personal stuff and there's more personal stuff. So it just like that right there, I just really praise God for because he has helped me through a lot. And again, this brother's married with 3 kids and really just like, he does not have to at all by any stretch of the means to be stopping his life and, talking to me, at first, when I first thought it, I was a nobody, I was like, bro, why is this brother, he's still talking to me, really? There'd be times where I'm calling him crying on the phone, bro, this is happening. My life feels like it's falling apart and blah, 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 and this and that. And like, he would just be a huge encouragement. And so, and his leadership and his exampleship and his help along with God and my pastor and stuff like that. I've grown a lot in my church and even in ministries, and I absolutely thank God for it because like without it, and even today I still struggle and there's a lot I need to fix and stuff like that. But I thank God for it because I'm in ministries and just absolutely serving in his church, which is something I've always wanted to do, but I wasn't focused on that before. I was always focused on pornography or trying to find that validation. And that validation also set issues with pride and ego because, like, whenever I got into drums, like some of the first times when I played, I remember the first Sunday I played and I played like really well. I played not really well, like even like what I would play now, but I played like really well as like a starter, as like a beginner.
Yeah.
And I got a buttload of compliments, bro. Buttload of compliments. Like, bro, you did such a great job, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't even like a month later that actually
Yeah, I
pastor was like,
know. I know
yeah,
I
yeah,
did.
yeah, right. Yeah, thanks, guy, whatever. And that just set like okay, now I'm basically performing. Now I'm playing for people. And like, it wasn't even like a week or like, I think it was like a week or 2 later where pastor's like, nah, I want you to start playing drums more. Where I'm playing like 3 times a service. Like I'm playing every single service.
Nice.
And that actually, I thank God for that because it actually made me a better drummer because like, I played for like, I think like 4 or 5 months straight, like straight. And I got way better in between that time. And it was like a fast learning process, but I thank God for that because it really just helped me. And then that was really it. I was in the drumming for a long time and then I got better at my ministry with the sound stuff, and later on I was blessed with being able to lead that sound team and then also rising up in the 180 team, and I was also blessed with being going all the way up to the assistant director and stuff like that, and I really just truly thank God for it. And Champ was there the whole time helping me to understand, hey, what we're doing, what we do is not for us or to perform for us or to figure out, hey, Luke, you did a great job, or you did absolutely amazing. No, like it's all God, and we're doing it for His people. Like, we do it to honor and glorify God. And I absolutely thank God for Champ and my ministries and stuff like that because it's just like it's a very fantastic feeling.
Can I throw you a curveball?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a weird curveball. I was just thinking about
Mhm.
this. What would your life look like if you had no church? Had no church. Your family wasn't an option to go to anymore. No friends.
Was okay. So I actually thought about this, actually, one of my thoughts was actually because in Jacksonville, Florida, my family owns a bit like their own business, and they're like a multi-million-dollar business. They're my aunt and uncle are very like respected people in that county. Uh, and like really, I've actually thought about that ever since we moved back to Norfolk. I actually thought about moving to Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm pretty sure they would have let me live with them and just work for them. I've actually thought about it. But without church and, like, without Christianity, I would honest to be honest with you, even with, like I've never been suicidal, but with the
Well,
amount of
I didn't. Okay,
depression.
so
Go ahead.
I won't say that. What I'm trying to isolate
Mhm.
is your encounters with God as well, because um, I want to look at like what our hearts are like and how we feel, especially with that relationship with God.
Right.
Um,
So
rather than like if everything's gone, we're bare bones. Where we at?
if everything was like what? With not without Christ and church? Oh my gosh.
No, no, no,
I
no. I didn't say that. Without no ministry. Say
oh,
say it like this. You got you ke not that you're kicked out or anything like that,
yeah,
not that
yeah.
you're put out or anything, just no ministry, you're
Nothing.
no family,
Just
no
sitting
friends, you don't know anybody. What's it look like? How
I'm gonna be honest with you, Jake. I wouldn't know. And to be honest, I thank God that I've never gotten to that point to where there is no friends, no family, no ministry, no nothing. And honestly, I'm gonna be honest. This is like an honest answer is that I don't think God has put that thought in my head before. And honestly, not even the devil has because it's just I've had too much support around me to the point where I wouldn't go dry without it, to go dry, like, to have that thought in my head, "Okay, what would life be like without my ministry, without my family, without my friends, without all this?" I've never even thought about that. The only thing I've thought about is that without God, I'd either be dead or in prison, one of the 2. I already know that for sure. So, I know that's without God, but without all that, I don't know because 'cause I've never really fully had that thought to be like, "Okay, this is where I would be." Because again, like I told you before, even backslidden and not saved and not in my right mind, again, I've never cussed other than maybe if it was an accident. I've never I've never drank, I've never smoked, I've never even had the thought or the temptation to be like, "You know what, bro? I wanna smoke a blunt right now," or I wanna go drink the strongest Hennessy I can find." Like, I've never
this is a
had
really interesting
I've
I really
never had that thought.
not the no temptation thing, but just, like, understanding of, like, you've
Like,
always
if
been in that
yeah,
cool cover, and that's a really powerful thought to think about. Like, I've every day, I'm still trying to understand, like, how to do certain things. Like,
mhm,
I'm still lost on a lot of stuff because it's
yeah,
just it's a whole new world for me as well, and so, like,
from
that's
yeah,
why I asked that question is because, like, A, obviously, we wanna make it to where, like, no matter what, man, if I gotta be a vagabond sitting around the wind, whatever God wants me to do, I want my relationship to be on my knees, just sitting there. It don't matter. Like, even if I don't got drama team, if I don't got ushering, if I don't got
yeah.
whatever, I
Honestly, if I
got
did it
time to sit there and
I've actually thought about that to where, like, I mean, let's just say if pastor was just like, "All right, we're gonna," or whatever, however it is, or it's just like if I stopped every ministry, I've actually thought about that before to where I'm like, "Bro, I could take a break," you know what I mean? To where it's like sit down in services and, put because, doing ministries and stuff like that, your mind's on several million things, like, okay, even for my ministries, like on a Sunday morning, my thought is, all right, am I playing drums this morning? I bet. Okay, but I have to go get pastor's title. Okay, who's my guys that's gonna be in the back? Like when your mind's on so many things, but also being assistant director is like, okay, I gotta figure out what we're practicing for. I gotta figure out how many people we're gonna use or stuff like that. Like your mind's always thinking about something. But I've actually thought about that to where it's like, okay, if I had nothing. then really, like, I'm not saying that I'm not focusing in the sermons already. Like, I love pastor, even both of my pastors. I love both of my pastors preaching. It's outstanding. Pastor Bandrat that brother knows how to preach. Even my pastor Morales does too. That, both of them know how to preach very well sermons. I'm just saying, you know, that all that stuff would not be trapped in my mind to be like, okay, what do I gotta do for all these ministries or work or finances or, etc. You know what I mean? So I think without all that, I think it would be a little bit more chill. But I thank God that I'm not chill, because even that is not chill. And there are times where I'm like, bro, I wish all this crap would stop. But at the same time, I've actually gotten a word from God saying, don't live in comfort. If I gave up all my ministries, that's all it'll be. Just going to church, sitting down, listening to a sermon, go home. I'm comfortable. Get out of my comfortability. Go do something. Go do a ministry for God. You know what I mean? And that's what I wanted to do. But also it helps me keep myself occupied. Not to think about a whole lot of things, because even that still is that isolation that I've gotten before from the devil. Oh, you don't need to think about that. Just, you're alone right now. You don't need to do anything. Blah blah blah. This and that. Like, no. I've always wanted to set myself apart from that. And that's why I usually do more, a lot more even today. It's because it just keeps me occupied. I know I'm doing God's will for his church, his people, and his community, and taking the world for Jesus. And that's all I really care about. I've never even thought about that fully, to where it's like, okay, what would life be like without all that? But again, it's a little bit different for both of us, like, because even our your testimony on the last episode, it's for, it's a little different, So, because you could, like you said, you were 18 when you got saved.
Yeah,
How old are you now?
21.
Right. You've only been saved for 3 years. Technically, and honestly, on all technicality, I've only been saved for 3 years too. Because throughout the whole time
Yeah.
in Florida, I've said the sinner's prayer a couple times, but I've never really meant it. Because there are so many times where my dad was like, "Hey, are you guys saved? Because you're saved, or I'm saved." And I've always like, "No, I'm saved. Whatever. Like, I'm saved. Yeah, I'm saved. Yeah, yeah, I'm saved." No, I'm not saved. I never was. I never, ever, never a time where I've prayed, spoken tongues. I never spoke in tongues up until we moved back. I spoke in tongues for the first time at 18 years old. No, 17 years old. I got saved at 17 years old. Yeah. So again, it was that covering though that still helped me though. Because again, we both grew up in two different lives. And that's why I guess I sets it apart differently. But I still had my own story behind it, to where I would still chase women, girls, or girls at the time, pornography, whatever, would just kind of release that, not adrenaline, I guess you could say, but just to be like, you know, chill,
You don't gotta go
relax,
in detail.
you know? Yeah. So, but yeah, that's really just about it
Didn't
for
need the
me.
detail. Alright,
That's such the truth right there, though. Where it's just like that's
let's
how
go
it
ahead and
was.
take that. So,
So,
that's really powerful. Yeah, and that's a different thought as well, because, like, you gotta from my perspective, I love to be able to think about it, because I'm getting into a whole new world of understanding, uh, your experience, and
hmm
then also trying to keep my mind and my understanding of the experience of, like, there's a lot of to say there's a lot of lost people is a great understatement.
hmm
There's more people than we can even understand that have a remnant of the truth, but are not there and will not.
hmm
I I've seen a lot of different things, where even in my experience, where I'm trying to just understand, like, yeah, God, but who even is God? Um,
yeah,
so it's very interesting to have people that are like, they know all about him, and then there's many people that don't know anything about him.
yeah,
And I'm just trying to understand this, and I love it. I love it. I love to hear something like that, because it's new to me. Because
hmm
I have never grown up and understood and seen somebody who is actually in it for him.
yeah. For me, it was always, I always knew who God was. I always knew what the right thing was. but I just didn't care because it was just too many rules. I didn't want to listen to the rules. I didn't care. All right. I was just like, bro, who cares? I still believe in God. I still believe what the Bible said. I still believed all that stuff. Yeah, Jesus created the earth, whatever. I believed in all that. Every single time there was a lot of bull crap over the news saying how the earth is 5 billion years old. I was like, no, it's not. Jesus created, I believe the common stuff, but I never really like lived for or believed in God like that. I never had a full relationship with him. And I'm still working on it even today, but it's a lot better than it was when I was 17 years old, you know? So,
Okay, let me ask you a
no.
question.
Okay. Go ahead. I was about to ask you if you have any questions for me. Go ahead.
You get to heaven. God asks you, "Why should I let you in?" What do you say?
You shouldn't. I don't deserve it. That's really the biggest thing. We don't deserve to get into heaven. We really don't. But through, because really, in a sense, it even says it in the Bible is that you actually have to be perfect to go into heaven. But through Jesus Christ, through God sending His Son down on the cross to redeem us from our sins, that uh, through Him we can be saved and enter to heaven. So really, if He's like, "Why should I let you in?" I'm like, "You shouldn't." Really, I should be in hell because of everything that I've done. But through that, it's but through me, but through Jesus Christ redeeming me and forgiving my sins, the thing that He died for me on the cross. That's why I would get in. But it's just other than that, if I don't have any of that, it don't matter. Yeah, really, I shouldn't go in. Overall, period, I shouldn't go in. But with Jesus going down to the cross, it redeems me. That's a good question, though. That's a good question.
That sounds money to me. If it's
Yeah.
okay with you, I think that should be about it.
Yeah, that should be about it. We want to thank y'all for really joining us on these first two episodes. These two videos right here are going to be we have a part one, part two to this. It's going to be to our first YouTube channel. We were really talking about this, but really to kick it off in 2026 is a great milestone, I guess you could say. Guess you could say milestone, and then we're also going to take this episode. I'm going to have to take it, do some changes and stuff like that. Put it on our podcast, but swap out the first episode because I heard good amount of people say, "Oh, the audio was rough, this and that." So we're gonna change it out, and get this audio fixed up for you guys.
You leave my
Oh,
mic alone.
it was my fault mainly, but other than that, it wasn't his mic, it was my mic that was overpowered. But
It
overall,
was my
it
mic. It
sounds.
was just your
We've done
mic
some
being.
tests. Yeah, that's true. We're on Riverside now, and it sounds way much better. We've done some tests and it sounds way much better. But yeah, it's gonna be on our YouTube channel. We have our podcast form in Apple Music, Amazon, and Spotify. So we want to thank you all for joining us. We have so much more planned for 2026 that we cannot wait to release. We have stuff that we want to do, milestones that we want to hit, and certain things that we want to do. So just keep on praying for us, and we'll pray for you guys, and we hope our goal in this podcast as we bring it into 2026 is to hope that we are reliable people to listen to, and to where you guys like to listen to us, and hope that you guys get something off of this to where it's not just wasted time that you listen to us. So this brother, oh my gosh, he's doing
Doodle.
something. But yeah, we want to thank y'all for joining us. This is Mason or Luke, one of the two. I say Mason, Luke all the time, but whatever. And this is my co-host Jake. We want to thank y'all for joining us, and we will
Okay,
see
bye.
y'all later.
Okay, bye.
Love you. So
Bye.
we'll see you guys later.